Good morning, App Properties. It's Monday, April 20th. I hope you all had a great weekend. I'm Amy Corr, and I'm joined by Kevin Van Eck, who is live out of our Goose Island office. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Coffee with Amy and Kevin. Morning, Kevin.
Hey, good morning, Amy. Happy Monday. Hope everyone's enjoying the sun this morning. Thanks for joining us again. We got two topics today. One big one, everyone's favorite weekly topic, which is the stimulus package. It's really important, though. So we're going to recap anything that's happened over the last week or over the last couple of days, as Mike Golden's been on top of it, sending out emails and such. We'll recap that. And then we're also going to talk through an article that came out Friday on Crain talking about how App Properties is #1 regionally, and that what that means for you and your clients and the company moving forward.
Yep, it's Monday morning, so here we are again with our Monday regulars, Mike and Thad. Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Morning, Amy. Morning, Kevin. How are you guys?
We're good.
Good morning. Good morning, Michael. We're all on pins and needles to hear the stimulating conversation of the stimulus. I almost didn't go to sleep last night. I woke up bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, hearing the latest and greatest info on the stimulus packages.
Thad apparently had 17 cups of coffee this morning. Or maybe just pulled an all-nighter waiting for my update. Well, listen, the first thing, the good news for everybody, just so you guys know, you don't have to worry about me. If Thad decides to fire me, I've been offered a job at the Illinois Department of Employment Services. So I am good, no matter what. All right, stimulus. As many of you know through the many emails I sent, if you applied for unemployment as IDES has advised you to apply, you get crazy error messages and basically tell you nothing. So the only thing we can advise you to do is to continue to wait. If you want to apply, apply. Realize that you're going to get information that makes very little sense, but perhaps it'll make it easier for you to finish your application. We're assuming you're not going to have to reapply, but who knows? We're hoping that they're going to have some information out by early May. And like I said, the goal is to get checks out to people by the week of May 11th. So that's the non-update on unemployment. The update on the rest of the stimulus program is actually a little more positive. If anyone checked out some of the articles this morning, they are very, very close to finalizing an additional, I think, $450 billion addition to the stimulus package, the majority of which is going to the PPP program to continue funding. As many of you know, that program maxed out. A number of our agents did receive checks and did get into that program. And then we also have a number who have applied, who are in the queue, but are waiting for the next funding. So if you do want to apply, I would encourage you to get your application in. If you go through your bank, if you have a relationship with your bank, if your bank won't take your application or you don't, you can go through stimulus@appproperties.com. We'll submit through CIBC and they will do the best job they can to get your application through. And that's about it. Nothing more exciting, but hopefully this passes today or tomorrow. I think it has to go through Congress and then go through the Senate. It'll take 2 days and then they'll open the funding back up again. But everyone, I believe, is right at the finish line now to get this one done.
I have a question.
That sounds good.
You have a question?
Have you heard anything else that the removal of the SALT tax will be incorporated in the stimulus or no?
I haven't heard anything. You're the one who had read some articles about that the House Democrats were pushing for the removal of that. That would be huge for us. I mean, that would be not just a boost for everyone financially, but it would be massive for the market in Illinois and in Chicago. So I haven't heard anything new. I'll do a little bit of research. If anyone hears anything about it, please let us know. If you have relationships with your congressmen and women or your senators, I would advocate for it because it would be a massive move for our business.
Did you watch the Andrew Cuomo press conference when they said, what is the #1 thing that we can do for you? And he said, remove the SALT tax from the last tax bill. That's what he said. So it seems like a big deal to me.
Awesome. That would be great.
Sorry to take us off script, ladies and gentlemen, but it is the Kevin and Amy show. So we ad lib and we do what is, I don't know, whatever comes to your mind, let's do it. Fire it up.
Yes, you can jump in anytime you want.
Yesterday I was at the store and I got some water because I hadn't taken my vitamins. I just reached into my pocket and see all my vitamins I keep in my pocket? My kid says, why do you just keep those randomly in your pocket? And I was like, I will never be one of those guys that carries around a piece of plastic with all my vitamins in it. That was the answer.
Now, are those your vitamins from yesterday?
No, these are today. These are today. Every morning I put them all in my pocket.
And
Sometimes I forget to take them.
Then you throw them out at the end of the day and put new ones in your pocket the next morning?
No, if I forget to take them, I'll use them again. I don't think they go bad in your pocket.
No.
They stay warm.
Kind of gushy.
And they're ready when you need them.
I keep gummy bears in my pocket because they stay warm and mushy.
Nice.
Tasty.
Amy and Kevin, are we off script enough for you guys? If you
This
want
is
to go
great.
off, what do you want to talk about? You can see that Thad and I are done with quarantining.
Yes, we can see that.
Okay, so let's go maybe to the article. There was an article that came out last Friday, and it was in Crain, and it was super positive. In fact, the title was A Coup in the Real Estate Market here, talking about how Ad Properties has taken the #1 spot regionally in real estate. So, Thad, the question is, a lot of times articles aren't so positive. Why does Ad Properties continue to get positive news?
I think locally we're the local favorite. I mean, we came on in 2000. We, at the time, were young. We produced a product, through innovation and marketing. Then we adjusted and focused on technology. And I think when you tell the story, it's this young company that really pushed innovation and customer satisfaction and customer service and beat the big guns and beat local companies that have been here for over a century. So I think it's a fun story to tell. The hard part, but I think the part that we've done well at is over the last 10 years, we've continued to push innovation. So the announcing of new products and technologies and new physical products to our agents and growth, it's a good story to tell. When you're talking about, writing a movie about a real estate company, organic growth that's focused around relationships and that distributes love alongside a superior real estate product. How do you not get behind that? We haven't had a lot of negative press over the last 20 years. We've had a lot of fantastic articles, and the press is usually trying to dissect the company and find out what's wrong with it. What's missing? What is the mask? And I think that they've looked at us, and I think that they've really figured out that, hey, this company is the real deal. They're focused on growth. They're straightforward and clear. And it's hard to write a really, I don't know, if you were going to write a negative article about what would it be about? We don't say we're going to do something that we don't do. And we really work hard at, investing in our communities and building long-standing relationships revolved around the pursuit of excellence and innovation.
So I love that. I mean, I do think that you walk the walk and, everything that you say, both of you, I think, and I also think that when things haven't always been perfect, I think you've been really comfortable to, talk a lot about that in the public eye. But, so being #1 regionally, I mean, it's an amazing stat. It's something great that we've accomplished. But, as our brokers are reading it and everyone is super proud, what does it mean for them? And, how does it really help them and their business? Because I think that's something that I think is so important as they're all looking at it. How does this then turn around and impact my growth and, how I, share this with my clients?
So, being number one is awesome. And for us, being the best was always more important than being the biggest. But when you're the biggest and you're the best, it's the ultimate combo. And it provides a tremendous amount of value to everyone that works at, which then trickles down to value to their clients. So, and I think when you think about how we're dominant in so many of the markets that we're in fact, almost all the markets that we're in, we become the market in a lot of these areas. So the advantage that a lot of our clients have, buyers and sellers there, when they go to their agents, they have access to information, real-time information, kind of boots on the ground, quality of info that you just can't get if you're in a small company. They really understand what's happening and what the market dynamics are, what's happening in the market, what's happening with pricing, where the demands are, what people want to see, and they can deliver that information to their clients. So before they go to market, they can get their home prepared. They can do the things that are going to be most attractive and most appealing to the buyers that are out there and maximize the value of their home.
If that's the benefit to the agent, how do they convey that to their seller? How do they convey that to their buyers? What is the benefit to the consumer then? And how does the agent convey that?
This part, someone asked me last week, they were like, they were asking about how, they were asking this exact same question. And I remember when we grew to Winnetka, and I remember a conversation with Peter Cummins, and he had frustration because his sellers didn't know who App Properties was. And we had to work through that and how you give that explanation. And how did we, when we weren't number one, how did we work to become number one? And what was that conversation? I will tell you, it is so much easier in a listing presentation to show your market share and your market dominance and show your number one position and ask the question, this is not a mistake. These are other consumers making a decision on who they want to work with. And no one's excited about working with number three. Okay, nobody comes out and says, who's three? Let's interview them. When you're number one, it just gives you added power. Now, that doesn't mean that the agent's not going to blow it potentially, but it's just more in your wheelhouse. It's more that you can bring to the table, because with number one comes everything. It comes with, market clarity. Why? We have more people working on the market. Opportunity, which the sellers want to hear from the salesperson going in to pitch the listing. They want to hear, what opportunity are you bringing? Well, we have so many people selling this market that we have number one market share. Because of that, we're probably working with the buyer who's willing to pay most for your home right now. So there's so many things you can go into from a sales perspective that, really convey that message of what you bring to the table by having number one market share. Because number one market share means you're working with the most people that are interested in buying and selling real estate in that market, which yields the greatest opportunity. And when you can wrap that all up and show them the app and the amount of interaction going on in that community, that really gets people's interest. The app was one of the things over the last 7 years that sellers have really gravitated towards when you incorporate that in your listing presentation.
The other thing it speaks to too is that the best brokers have come to work for App Properties. The biggest and the best have decided to make an investment in their business and come to App and be a part of who we are. So it just speaks to the fact that if we are attractive to the people who are having the most success in the marketplace, it means that we're doing some things right to help support their business, and we're providing the value to their clients in the end. I mean, there's so many different reasons why. It's not just about being number one, but the byproduct of being number one and the reasons why, I think, are the things that are most compelling.
So one of the things that I know Thad loves to say is that if you're not growing, you're dying. I think that's one of your favorite terms. I hear it often. So what's next? So if we aren't growing, then we are dying. So what are we really looking at as we move forward? App Properties is number one regionally. Great. What sort of next as we look down the road?
Well, I will tell you, nobody wished for this virus. I didn't wish for this virus. I don't want anybody to get exposed. I don't want anybody to die. At the same time, just the way we embraced the Great Recession, we are embracing this period. We have never had more going on than right now in the history of the company. Never. And it is insanely exciting. Every day when I wake up, I'm thinking about the things that we're working on. They're going to get unveiled towards the end of the year at the expo, whether we do it physically or virtually, but everything that we have going. So when someone says the macro, what's next? Well, the adoption and platform in Atlanta has been great. So now we've airlifted the software and dropped it in another market. And we've been working on it for 6 months, and the agents are feeling the benefit and the efficiency. So from that side of it, imagine what that can do when it becomes consumer facing. So imagine when you're an App Properties agent and your DMS, your platform on the back end, your customers also on it, creating the ultimate efficiency when it comes to mortgage, when it comes to title, and when it comes to service. So when you have that, and let's say at the end, it also is storage. So let's say that's your connectivity with your seller or your buyer post-closing. Let's say it stores all their documents. Let's say it stores them in a blockchain. Let's say that that's really the piece that your customer interacts with you on. So they have email, they have text, etc., but everything in their housing experience is there. So there's a lot of things that we're working on that in platform and in the DMS that'll be fantastic for the agent. And the cool part is that all of these things we're building internally. So the integration is awesome. We're not buying this piece and trying to push it into the DMS or platform. So some might say, why is this taking so long? We're building it from scratch. We had a great idea come from Atlanta last week that's going to improve the DMS significantly. So we have a whole queue of improvements that our engineers are working on alongside the macro. But the big macro will be the consumer facing portion of it. And this software is in huge demand. If you talk to, companies all over the country, they don't have a centralized system. They use .loop, SkySlope, all of these things that make it impossible for the company to integrate the CRM, that it makes it impossible to integrate the digital CMA. It's impossible to integrate the advertising clicks. They're all over here. And so if we have this one piece that's very easy for the consumer and the agent, that's effectively built by real estate agents, not built by people that have no real estate experience, that build it, sell it to the agents and have to make all these adjustments. We're gradually making improvements every day because of the innovation and the recommendations coming from agents. So at the end of the day, I think that's going to be the superior piece of software for people to work. And the cool part about that is that we can work on it with our IT department and our engineers, but it doesn't take me and Mike away from our region. So regional growth, we'll announce another city office in 2 weeks to a month. We'll announce another suburb that we're launching in a month. So regionally, we can still grow and grow our base, because if you aren't growing, you are dying. Why? Everyone talks about margin shrinkage in the industry. Well, how do you combat against that? Your only choice is growth. If you're not growing and you have margin compression, you better make a plan, because you're going to have to come up with a new revenue stream, or you're going to have to close offices and reduce staff. So that's the big deal with growth in our industry. It's necessary. It's necessary if you want to survive. It's also necessary if you want to compete.
Yeah, growth in size has been critical, just because it provides us with the revenue to be able to make these investments. I mean, if we were lucky when we first started out back 20 years ago. Boutique was cool, but we didn't have any money to spend, so you were doing it kind of on a shoestring. But all that technology didn't exist, so it was a little bit easier. Now, with all the opportunities and options out there, like, you need size and revenue in order to make these investments, in order to build the software and build the platform that people to be able to work off of. It doesn't work without it anymore. You can buy things off the shelf, as Thad notes, and you can try to piece them together. But we did that when we were smaller. We had different vendors, and nothing really worked really well. They just didn't integrate well together. They didn't talk to each other well together. And it was frustrating for the agent because their business wasn't as seamless. It wasn't as easy. By us building this from scratch, and by continuing to be able to make major investments in this technology and this platform that's going to make and that makes our agents' lives easier, and will make consumers' lives easier, and make the transaction smoother. We need that growth and that revenue in order to do it. And that's why we continue to keep making massive investments back into the company as we grow.
Our commitment to our core values, which is the number one, everything is relationship. Number two, improving innovation. And number three, striving for excellence. Over the course of time, with authenticity and organic relationships, really valuing and empowering the people in the industry and taking those ideas collectively, you put together a big group so you can do something like this. Because nobody's doing any of this by themselves. They're doing it with everybody else around them. And if you surround yourself with people smarter than you, Mike is smarter than me, and people that have a tireless work ethic, Amy and Kevin texting me at like 6 a.m., hey, can you get on this Zoom? I forgot while I was drinking coffee. Then you can do some cool stuff and have a good time while you're doing it. And you don't get that many bad articles written about you.
So I got a question, Ben. How do you measure success then, moving forward? What would be the measure of success? And this is for either of you, as we continue to grow, as we continue, how do you know? How do you feel success?
So me personally, part of the way I think I measure success at is just in how our relationships thrive and grow. The fact that people continue to want to join us from different companies who value the relationships here, value the platform and the culture we've created here, that to me validates success here. Because to us, we are just, all we are is people. We don't have any hard assets. We're not a manufacturing company. We don't hold patents. We're just a bunch of great people who have all come together to create this company. So for me, that's the growth that validates, or the growth is kind of what helps validate our success here, because we continue to be attractive for people to come and work with us, and which means we're doing the right things, and we just have to keep our heads down and keep trying to innovate and work hard to try to continue to do more better things to make everyone's business lives easier and for people to enjoy being here.
That was a good answer. You know what my worst day is? When Mike's unhappy. I swear to God to you, When Mike's unhappy, I am miserable. Like I'm just trying to figure out how do I make this guy happy again? And that is the relationship side. And it's the other side. I got an email from an agent this weekend that was disappointed in a specific transaction. Like caring about those things and those things remaining valuable and not becoming too big for your britches, but knowing that everyone in the company needs to feel supported and needs to have a good product and a good relationship and a good understanding of what we're all about, and actually authentically caring about the people that you work with. That is happiness. We don't have to take the software and go into a different market. We're not forced to grow. We're not forced to hit specific numbers. But if we meet a person in Minneapolis or we meet a person in Houston and they are great and they really want to use our software and they're behind it and we can provide value and service, great. We'll hook them up with the right people and they'll get that done. But regionally, Mike and I always said we didn't really want an office more than 2 hours away because we want to be able to drive into St. Joe, drive into Lake Geneva, know the front desk and know the agents and be involved. And I think we still like that. There's still a lot of growth locally that we can focus on. And we can let the software guys and the software women all drive that side of the business while we enjoy the relationships we have locally with Kevin and Amy and everyone else. Because, you know, when you're having this much fun, I don't know, I believe, you know, if it ain't broke, break it and rebuild it. But when it comes to relationships, you know, those are priceless. And the best ones are usually the ones you have for the longest period of time.
That's great. Thank you, guys. Really appreciate you being here. And for everyone watching, number one, that's something you should feel great about too, because all of you are part of this. All of you, you know, by using the tools, using the resources, using all the skills and all of the experience you have behind you in real estate, that's what's helped propel Ad Properties to number one, because we can provide tools and resources. We can open offices, but without you actually working and providing the service to the clients, it really means nothing. So kudos to you for that. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us again. We'll see you next Monday.
Thank you. It's always fun.
Thanks for having us. Sorry we went off script a bit, but it's always more fun.
That's all right.
There's no script.
You guys were in rare form.
I did drink a lot of coffee this morning.
I can
tell. I don't think I should have any more for the rest of the day, but I'm kind of like thinking about making some right now. It's sort of a fun ride.
Just take those vitamins.
I got them.
All right.
And they're warm.
All right. Have a good day, everybody. Thank you.
All right. Have a good
Bye.
Monday. Bye, guys.